Hey everybody, welcome to my channel, or welcome back. I have to tell you, today is going to be a different video. I just got back from taking my cat to the vet. And while I was sitting there, I was looking, the veterinarian brought in eggs. And of course, we all know that the price of eggs is up, right? She brought in eggs, and when I checked out, $6 for a dozen eggs. And between that, and I have chickens. I don't understand the justification for $6 for a dozen eggs. It does not cost that much to raise a chicken. You're not paying the chicken to squat out an egg. I mean, I understand charging for eggs, okay? Because if you're feeding your chickens, I mean, I feed my chickens, plus they free range. So you have to pay for the food. Outside of that, and maybe the carton that they go in, outside of that, what are you paying for? Why do you need that much money for a dozen eggs? Okay. Then it takes me back to a conversation I had with my husband this morning because he volunteers to help families that don't have resources to fix things in their house, okay? And some of the people, yes, because of choices that they make, you know, like he said, you know, some of them just choose to sit around all day and watch TV and do nothing. Some people are not like that, though. Some people are blessed to have four walls and a roof, much less a nice house. Because I've seen a lot of people that are homeless. You know, you see them on the side of the street, a mall that he and I would walk through sometimes. You see these people, you know they're legitimately homeless. And I told him, I said, you know, honestly, it drives me crazy. People should not be in that situation. The homeless, the people that, you know, and then I look at just like him. He's a veteran. He was going through a tough time before he moved in Pennsylvania. He owed back taxes on his house. The house was paid for, had been paid for years. Because he owed back taxes, they sold his house at auction for what the taxes were. Plus whatever they could get over and above that. Okay, then they turned around and sold it to a cousin of the tax assessor. And the way he knows this is because when he went back to get his stuff, the person said that they were the cousin of the tax assessor. But they didn't know about it. They didn't know, you know, yeah, right, whatever. So anyway, so years later, he's entitled to the overage. You know, the county took their money. Whatever was over that, he gets his money. So when we get the check, they take out all these administrative fees. They take out shit tons of attorney fees that should have never been in place in the first place because they should have never taken his damn house from him in the beginning. And I look at older people that don't have a job. They're living on Social Security because they were lied to. eons ago when they started working, put into Social Security. It'll take care of you. That way you'll have money when you go to retire. You have money, but you can't afford to retire. And then and some of them cannot physically work. So now they're living on limited income means. You get in a position where you can't pay your taxes because you can barely afford to feed yourself because the price of everything has gone up. And they come and take your house. Now you've got elderly people that are homeless. Then I hear, how many millions of dollars all these career politicians are making, literally millions, when they had nothing when they went into office. They've been in office for their whole life, basically. They know they don't do another job. Politics was never meant to be your job. It was meant to be a position you held to take care of the people, not rape the people. And I look at, you've got all them. Then I heard, and I've heard this numerous times, that the profit margin for MasterCard and Visa is over 50%. And I pulled, Google it. What does the CEO of MasterCard make? It said that they pay him X amount, but he makes millions of dollars. I forget what it was. I'm on my phone, so I can't look it up at the moment. Millions of dollars in bonuses. I don't know what this man does, but my guess is he might sit behind a desk and push papers. Explain to me why he's making millions of dollars when there are people living on their credit cards paying 28, 29, 30% interest, and you can't afford to pay off your card because you can barely afford to eat. It makes me crazy. The corruption. And meanwhile, you have the elite few that are making millions and millions and billions and trillions of dollars. And then the government's going to tell them, you can only donate 10% or whatever it is. I'm not there yet. I will be there one day. But you can only contribute so much money and write it off on your taxes. Because if you do any more, we won't give you a tax break. So they go buy these mansions because you can write off the tax on that. Or you're paying tax on that, but it's a write-off for your interest. Why do you need a house that big? Anyway, and then you have the people that are so asleep that they want to look at and knock the current administration. Honestly, and it's just because it's Trump in office. Anything that Trump is doing, they hate him so much that they go the other way. And that's the way the Democratic Party is. If it's something Trump is doing, they're going to go the other way, regardless of whether it's good or bad for you and me. And I've heard people say, and yeah, the thought has crossed my mind, is the Epstein files, the list of people that went to Epstein Island, where'd that go? Hunter's laptop, where'd that go? All the emails that Hillary the servers that Hillary destroyed, why is she still out walking the streets, supposedly? I have my theories on that also. But when do we see the justice for the corruption? Fauci. They know that it was planned. They know that he literally targeted specific like races or genders or whatever. Why is he still alive, much less walking the streets? Because he committed treason and mass genocide. They know this. When do we get to see him? But the thing is, people want to complain because what's Trump doing? You have to start somewhere. Because if you sent all these people to court, right now, the court system is so corrupt. Not all of it, but a lot of it. That if you sent them, they wouldn't get the proper sentence or conviction. So Pam Bondi, God bless her soul, I'm sure she doesn't get any sleep. She has to start somewhere. She's taking some of these judges out because they're corrupt. Then, and what thought did I just have? It just left me. Anyway, I don't typically get on here and rant, but I'm telling you, I've had it. I've had it. Oh, and then you've got the people. Sorry, I had to let my dog out. Then you've got the people that want to scream that the immigrants should stay here or go through due process before they leave or whatever nonsense. It's like they didn't go through that to get here. And the MS-13 bullshit that's out there. They want to scream that these people have rights and all this kind of stuff. Okay, I'm going to tell you one thing. If you're in that boat, all I can say is be blessed because they have not come after you. Because the stuff that these people do is ruthless. They need to go away. They don't belong in this country to begin with. They need to go away. It's fine and dandy to sit and scream, oh, these people have rights. This, they should have due process. Until it happens, until their crime is committed against you. Then your song will change. I pray to God it does not come to that point. I know people need to wake up. I know everybody's here for a purpose. I know that everything happens for a reason. But I still have days where it's very hard. It's very hard. I took my cat to the vet. The only thing they did was drew blood and gave me test results. $200. For what? I understand. I mean, and they never stopped. The whole time that I was in there, they had people coming in there. So it's not like I'm the only customer they have. The equipment that they use to run this process, they don't send it off. The equipment that they use has probably been paid for time and time again. Anyway. It's insanity. You know, everybody raised prices when COVID came out because, oh my God, it's COVID's fault. We had to shut all this stuff down. Well, guess what? The stuff is back up and running. Explain to me why prices have not come back down. Explain to me why we have to kill all the cows when one cow gets sick. Explain to me why we have to kill an entire batch of chickens when two chickens get sick with the flu or whatever. You've got chickens that are perfectly healthy that have an immune system that fight this stuff off. But you're going to kill all the chickens. Therefore, there's an egg shortage. Therefore, there's a beef shortage. And they can charge more because supply and demand. Again, just like back when COVID happened, COVID was a respiratory infection. Explain to me why toilet paper just all of a sudden, people have had the flu for years. That is an intestinal thing, usually. COVID was a respiratory infection. Explain to me why all of a sudden the toilet paper just went away. Then you had shortages on other products and milk and stuff like that, and yet they've had people videoing milk trucks just being ordered to dump thousands of gallons of milk. The toilet paper shortage was planned to inflict fear. How many people do you know that were running around like chickens with their head cut off? Oh my God, I have to have toilet paper. I'm sorry. You can wipe your butt with something other than toilet paper. Get out of fear. Days like this are where the insanity button is screaming so loudly in my head. And then you have people that don't get it. The level of corruption is so huge. I mean, I'm just scratching the surface here on this rant. This is just barely scratching the surface. The corruption goes so deep and so far. And it is over basically every aspect of life that you can envision. Because they've made us dependent on the system. Because they keep you in debt, so you have to go work a job that barely pays you enough to pay your bills, so you have to go back to work. And there are people that want to say, well, if people didn't want to make more money, they could lower the prices. Okay. The price of things, yes, needs to come back down. Because there's no purpose for it to be so high. Other than, yes, some people want to make more money. Well, minimum wage was never meant to be the standard of living. But the thing is, if the cost of things came down, people wouldn't need to make as much. Or if they made money, they could afford to pay their bills and not be homeless. The other part that the awake people have heard for a long time is the biggest transfer of wealth in the history. When's that going to happen? And people want to say, oh, but there's not enough money. There's not enough money for that all these people make to make everybody not homeless and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, there is. There's more money that these people have hidden. There's so much more money and gold and resources that have been hidden. And there is a thing called asset forfeiture. When you take the assets from someone that has gained those assets illegally, we used to do it in law enforcement all the time. Anything that was bought with drug money, prostitution money, whatever, those assets are seized by the sheriff's office, the police department, whatever. And then they can either, if it's a car, they can use the car, they can sell it, they take the funds and they use it for them to buy equipment for the sheriff's office. When you have asset forfeiture for all these politicians that have taken money and all this stuff that Elon Musk is finding, and people want to knock Elon, don't even get me started on that because I will go off. The money that Elon is finding for like millions of dollars that were supposed to go to a charity, a nonprofit organization, and somehow it never made it. It was rerouted and it went back into the politician's pocket. When all of those assets are seized, our tax money, the money that we put into the system under the, I'll say assumption that it was going to be used for the benefit of people, and it's 2222 as I said that. It needs to come back to us. There's plenty there. Plenty. The money that was laundered through Ukraine for Biden's personal gain, whether it be Joe or Hunter, all that money needs to come back to us. When you start putting this money back in people's pockets, you don't have homeless people. You don't have people living in houses that are barely standing and should really, truly be condemned, but they have nowhere to go. When you stop the crazy tax nonsense that should not even be in place, that was supposed to stop back when, which war was it? I don't know. I don't care about history, but because they lie to you about it anyway. But taxes were put in place to help fund the war. The war was over. The government said, guess what? All these people are paying this money. Let's just keep it going. We shouldn't have been paying taxes since that point. And they tax you on everything. It doesn't matter when you get taxed when you buy it. You get taxed every year on it. Why? Explain to me why my house is sitting right here. It's not costing anybody anything. It's paid for. Explain to me why I owe personal property tax every year. I bought it. It's free and clear. The property's not costing anybody to sit here. The house is not costing anybody to sit here. It doesn't go anywhere. I pay my electric bill, which is another insane rabbit hole that I'm not going to go down today. But it's like, why? Why do I have to pay personal property tax on my car? I paid tax when I bought it. Other states, there's no personal property tax. So yes, Trump needs to be in office. He's doing all he can do. I mean, I don't even know that the poor man sleeps. God bless him. He has a hell of an army with him that he's put in place. They're doing a hell of a job. You cannot clear. He's only been in office, what, January, February, March, April, not even 4 months. You can't clear the level of corruption that is in this country in less than 4 months. You just can't, because you got to start somewhere. The illegals need to go home, back to their country, and come into this country the right way. You need to get rid of the crooked politicians, the lifelong politicians. You need to get rid of all the judges that pass a law or they overstep their boundaries. They do things that are illegal. Today is a crazy day. I will get over it. I will get through it. I will. But I feel pretty certain you guys are with me. I feel pretty certain you understand and you're awake. I don't usually get in this but if there's one person out there that's watching me and you're not awake and you're thinking that I'm lying or I'm making this up, or like I told my husband last night, I said, we're the ones, like my video yesterday, we're the ones, because of the corruption, the cult makes us look like the cult, or tells everybody we're the cult. The corruption that happened in 2020, the corruption was telling people that we were the ones that were conspiracy theorists, that we were lying. Now people are seeing that it was them. People will eventually one day see how organized religion is part of the corruption, is part of the problem. It's not the solution. And I really, like I said, I understand everything happens for a reason, but I honestly don't have a whole lot of patience for people that want to stay stuck in the corruption and fight to keep the corruption. I don't have a whole lot of patience for that. So they need to start waking up, because as long as they're asleep, the problem, we can eliminate the problem, yes. But if people don't wake up, we will be right back in that same boat. When the people that are trying to fix the problem are gone. So I send you guys love. I'm beyond grateful. If you are awake and you get this and you understand, and maybe there was something I said today that had not crossed your mind, and there's probably things that, and there, I know there's things I didn't even talk about. We're not even going to go into big pharma. So I thank you for being here. This, you know, the Flintstones. If you're old enough, you know the Flintstones. At quitting time, this was not nice. They pulled the bird's tail and sounded the alarm so people knew it was time to quit. That was mean. But anyway, the alarm that is what is going off in my head at the moment. It is screaming. So, yes, I have chickens. I do not plan on charging $6 for a dozen eggs. I mean, my plan is to help my neighbors and give them eggs. That's what we're here for. That's what we're supposed to do, because they have talents and gifts that they're not mine. They grow a garden. And my neighbors usually supply me with some vegetables. So my hope and plan when my chickens start laying eggs is to give them eggs. So anyway, I love you guys. I hope you have an amazing day. And hang in there. We will get through this nonsense. We've made it this far. You know what? We will get through it. So, anyway, I will talk to you later.